Hi, it's Colleen Schmidt from Divination Counseling Service, here to present the June moon ingress into Sagittarius. Here's a chart of June 4th, 2020, 1:17 p.m. in the Eastern Daylight Time. We have an 18 Virgo ascendant, 1833. The moon itself at 0 degrees Sag falls right smack in the middle of the Mercury house. Once again, we're dealing a lot with third house moons recently. I'm really curious by that myself, since I'm really just starting to get into this. The reoccurrence of the third moon. Well, the third moon is important when you're considering neighborhoods. And part of the COVID-19 issue and part of the protesting things will relate to neighborhoods. So the neighborhood concept is still there. Also, the concept of communication. All of this is about communicating, about being heard. The fact that the moon here is in Sagittarius does mean it is ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is about healing, but Jupiter is also about righteousness. We just want to make sure that we use our righteousness in a good way. People can tend to be more argumentative because of that righteousness. I feel the way that I do, so I think the way that I do concept. Now, for other people, and again, this on an individual level will be a little bit different for people in general, but for some people, it could be about learning. You're learning something, or you're teaching something. Also related to that concept of communicating, because it's opposite the ninth house, okay? I'm going to get up there too because I want to talk about our 10th house cusp. But for now, let's just stay with this concept of moon. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Will only cause me to have to do the work over. So here we have Lacrimosa and Isis, both in retrograde, both in aspect to that moon. Again, Isis is about doing things in pieces. We're in a quarantine. We are only slowly coming out of it, and we will be doing it in pieces. That's what it will feel like. But it does highlight the idea of siblings in families. But Lacrimosa reminds us how serious it is. Even though the optimism of the Jupiter energy of that moon might deflect some of that retrospect. Not for everyone. Here again, it's always going to be individual, but in general, we might see or notice that. So this chart is a Mercury chart. So that moon in the third house, once again, highlighted by a Virgo rising in this case, which is ruled by Mercury. So Mercury's up here in the 10th, and it's in a lineup that Mercury will move quickly through. Not as quick as the moon will move out of this and into something else. But these are some of the things I want to talk about. When we're looking at a chart and we're studying how to read it, realize that a moon ingress occurs every 2.5 days. It takes at least a month, if not more, to get through Mercury, to get through, okay? So 45 days, I believe, for Venus. I mean, I could go through and check my books, but they're quick. And they're not that quick. The sun is 30 days or 31 days, depending. So everything moves quicker and the moon moves the quickest of all. These are all the quicker moving items. Trans-Neptunians are not quick at all, okay? So this Volcanus has been hanging around 0 or 1 degrees of Leo for a long time. That means that Volcanus is probably always in some kind of aspect to the moon ingress, just because it's new in its cycle of that sign. The Hades and Chronos, and I've spoken of this before, I've written about it, this is going to be going on for some time. The fact that Mercury shows up here, though, in conjunction with Hades is kind of significant, because we could be hearing news, and it would be more worldwide, of either mistakes by people in authorities, or perhaps numbers have increased over the next couple of days. These are all things that could be in effect during this particular alignment of planets. Okay. We could do further detail and look up here at a few other things. One of the things we get here is on the outside end of it is a sense of gloom and doom. But if we look closer to what other planet, well, in this case, asteroids aspect it, we're looking at Apollo and Shiwal, and basically it's a slow withdrawal, or it's a slow comeback from that distancing. So we're really not out of the woods on that. We're really learning how to live differently in order to heal. With that said, the protesters are, in effect, a huge part of how we're also going to heal something else. This is a Pluto return. There is a lot going on, particularly with regards to America's approach to inequality, or how they tend to, overall, as a country, have taken advantage of the disenfranchised or the American Indian, or so on and so forth. So I've talked about it, I've read about it, I wrote about it, rather. So that, but we're healing. And the protest gives us an opportunity with all of this lineup, all of this beautiful lineup in the fifth house, to express ourselves, and again, I think a more peaceful way. We do have to be careful. Uranus is, I always think that protesting is worse if Uranus is direct. I don't know. This is just something I'm kind of working on. Be careful with Neptune and the Mars, because we have to look at this descendant in all of this. With those two planets in aspect, you have to be careful. This is nefarious action. I mean, it's also the action to be compassionate, to help others, and we are going to see a lot of that. But realize that there's a lot of anger here, because the sun, which is sitting on another angle, about to burst out into the world, because that's what it wants to do with Venus, get the economy back, I mean, sure, everybody wants that. I think we need to think logically, though. And I know there's going to be a lot of blame on numbers, okay? And there's going to be a lot of blame about a lot of things. And but the real blame might be just that there's too many people, too much disease, economy is scary, a lot, no matter how you look at it. That's an Apollonia. It's an asteroid. We read it a lot like Apollon, which again is always in some kind of in conjunct, in this case, to that moon, because of it being in an early degree. Also, Volcanus squaring that Apollon to trans-Neptunians, that's something that's going to just keep going on for a while. And I really have to say that that's the pressure for the economy, for business, because it's Volcanus to business. But it might also be pressure that business is putting people under, okay? Or the government, or so there's a lot at play here. This will not change. This that is at play will be going on for some time. So just as we briefly go over this whole little chart here, and we see the dynamics of the Sun, Mars, know that that's anger. Be weary of protests getting out of hand, okay? Because people are upset, and that just stands to reason. Now, I'm going to I don't want to hang on this too long. I want to keep it moving. A couple of things I want to show. Something I want to show you is the Aries point, proving my point. Things don't change. There are the nodes still sitting there, last two reports. I am going to talk a little bit about Hades, Neptune today, and that concerns me because I feel like in the next couple of days, and we're still in early June, the number issue, the disease issue could be an issue. In other words, our numbers might start going up, or it might be that more states are in trouble. I know that some states are going down, other states are going up, and there could be just an overall concern in the world that this virus is literally running rampant. The other thing that I want to talk about this time on this video is this Chiron to Neptune. These are, again, slower moving. They're not going to change from chart to chart. So I take opportunity and talk about different things in the chart, just to kind of point out so that we get a little bit more proficient at reading charts. I wanted to point out the Chiron Neptune. I have a note on it. And I think it's really beautiful in light. It's actually quite beautiful. It's quite a beautiful concept, actually. And this is at the Aries point. It's a midpoint. This is where these two come together. And it is talking about oneness, understanding that we are not separate, but that we are one. And it is speaking to unity in a way that some people will fall into it accidentally, meaning they'll just have their aha moment. And still others maybe knew it was there all along, and they're just going to be thrilled to begin to see it. But I think the protests are speaking to that we are one, and that if any part of our population is disenfranchised, it is going to bring us all down. And I think that's a really wonderful message. So I just wanted to bring that up. Now, as I go into the 2230, there's something else I wanted to bring up. I had spoken about this, and I just want to kind of go through it with you, with your visual. Here's helping. This is caretaking. This is food. And this is helping others. This is an aspect of this chart that we, and you'll hear about it. A lot of this will be, is also a node to Poseidon. Okay, so you'll be made aware of it. But it's really wonderful because with everything that's going on, and there's, you can even tell by this that there's a lot going on with the authorities, with restrictions. I could, Chronos Volcanus, Chronos to Saturn, just so that you know what I'm talking about. But this is beautiful. Circe to Ceres. So we're not going to leave anyone behind, and no one's going to starve. That's a really wonderful thing. And that's where I want to leave this. I want to leave it on a good note. We might be living in such dark times, but it's not really what it appears to be. That Neptune works the other way too. We really are healing, and we're coming into a new age, and we're going to have an opportunity to do things differently than we've done them before. And all of that is going to set us on a better road of growth and evolution. Not easy. All healing comes with pain. I'm a trainer, also a yogi, and I can tell you that's true even on a physical level, but what's true on a physical level is also true on all levels. With that said, if you have any questions, or if you would like any private work done by me, please contact me through divinationcounselingservice.org. Also, comment, like, share, do all that social media stuff. And before I leave, a special thank you, because I have picked up subscribers, and I'm really excited about that, and I want to thank you. With that said, until we meet again, happy readings.